Today, I just really wanted to come and share with you all my story of why I became a Christian. So many times I'll get these questions as to like, why do you believe in Jesus and why did you choose to become a Christian? And I would say, first and foremost, that I did not grow up in the church. I did not grow up with this huge Christian background. And a lot of times people think that like they see me and they see the way I talk about Jesus and they automatically think that I grew up in the church and my parents were pastors or something. But that is not the story whatsoever. The story truly is I was in and out of churches with my friends and with different people that went to church. I would go sometimes. But by the time I was a sophomore in college, I was basically borderline atheist agnostic, and I say both of those to say I truly just believe that there wasn't a God, and if there was a God, he wasn't good, and if he was good, he wasn't choosing to be good to me just because of the things that I had experienced in my past, which I'm more than happy to share with you all behind the scenes of this video too. But a lot of things had happened to me. I went through some different things growing up, and I really struggled to just believe that there was a God. And so I had started smoking marijuana when I was about 15 or 16 behind closed doors, and I was partying, and I just grew up in this lifestyle of really just choosing to basically run from the things that I was struggling with on the inside, and that looked like toxic relationships, that looked like me drinking and smoking and being basically, some would say that you can't be addicted to marijuana, but I was definitely addicted in my perspective. I needed it. I got to this point because I'd been smoking for 5 years. I quit when I was 20, but I got to this point where I had to smoke to be able to eat, where I would have like these stomach problems, I would get headaches, and I just felt like consistently the need. Like if I wasn't high, I felt super anxious and just depressed, and I had already been struggling with depression since about 6. So smoking was definitely that place where I had a false place of peace, because that's what getting high does, is it gives you this sense of peace and joy, but it's not reality. And so whenever I chose to become a Christian, it was honestly at the lowest point of my life, I want to say. I just found myself at this place that I had known a little bit too well. I had suicidal ideation, and I really struggled with believing that my life was worth it. And Jesus, as good as he is, he met me at my lowest point. I had decided to take my life in January of 2017. And I had a plan mapped out, I had a decision figured out, and it wasn't like it was before. Like it wasn't this cry for help, it was just like, okay, I'm done and I want to execute this. And I just remember in that moment of me preparing to just get very high and then go do it because I thought that would make it easier, I felt like this voice in the back of my head, and it was like such a small voice, but I knew that it was not of me because I had not heard something like this maybe ever in my own mind, because my mind was just filled with this place of you're not good enough, you're not worthy, you're a terrible person, nothing you do will make life better. I felt suffocated by these voices in my head that told me that I was just a terrible person, and I was worth nothing, and no one wanted me. I didn't want myself. I was never going to amount to things, and this was the lies that really I was telling myself, and maybe the enemy was whispering in my ear. But I heard this little small voice in the back of my head, and right before I was going to make that decision to do these things to myself, it was a small voice that said, "You are worth more." And I still find myself clinging to those words today. Almost 3 years later, I will be 23 in February, and I was saved I feel like I was truly saved that night because I cried out to Jesus. I grabbed this old Bible that my friend Kaylee Vanover had suggested for me to get in high school that I never really read, but I grabbed it from my closet, and it was up in the top of my closet. I just started reading it, and I was like, if this is God, then I need to know, and is this Jesus, and is Jesus God? And so for the next 2 months until my 20th birthday, I went on this journey of trying to figure out, is God real, and is he Jesus? And does this dude Jesus love me? What do I mean to him? And I dug into the Bible, and February of 2017, on the 26th, I was baptized, and I just decided, like, I can't keep running from the truth. I can't keep running from the voice that's in the back of my head that's telling me that I'm worth more and there's something better for my life. And even more than that, after I pass away, there's something much greater than this life can ever give me. And right now, there's this thing called the Holy Spirit that wants to dwell inside of me. And I didn't want to run from that. And I thought, even if I am so wrong about this, and this is just this emotional thing going on in my head, it's so worth it, because the things that I was experiencing was the most fulfilling things that I'd ever felt in my life. I felt peace, I felt joy, I felt like, honestly, freedom. And the things that I'd been carrying my whole life just felt lighter. And I can't explain it, but if you've experienced Jesus, then you know what I'm talking about, because I had a lot of Jewish friends growing up. I'm originally from Atlanta, so I had a lot of Jewish friends, I had a lot of Hindu friends, I had friends that were practicing these different religions, and I personally had took on the understanding of different energies. So, like, basically, if you could be positive, then positive things will happen. If you're negative, negative things will happen. But what I recognized in my search for Jesus and my search for Christianity was that all of the other religions will tell you that you have power, that you have the power to be better, you have the power to make your life better. And Christianity is like the only religion that tells you you have to surrender fully to a God that's higher than you. You have to be obedient. You have to become basically a slave to a master, which is counterculture of all the other religions, which is why it makes people really hesitant on following, because it's like you really have to give your whole heart to recognize God, to receive the Holy Spirit, to understand what he's going to be doing. And I just thought, I want this. I want to give my whole heart, I want to give my whole life to this, because if this is real, then this is the most important thing I can ever do. And people ask me all the time, like, how do you know you're going to heaven? How do you know that this is real? And I just say, you know what? I've prayed too many specific prayers and received too many specific answers. I've received healing emotionally, spiritually, physically. I've experienced these things that I can't explain, except for the fact that, like, I've had these small amounts of faith that have grown into larger amounts of faith because of my consistency with the Lord and trying to understand who Jesus Christ is, and trying to understand the Holy Spirit that's in me, trying to understand Christianity as a whole, but really trying to understand other people. And so when I fully surrendered my life to Christ, I just experienced these things that could not have been coincidence. And I live this place of freedom. I live in this place of struggle still. I live in this place of still sinning at times, but I am saved. And at the end of the day, even if this is all wacky, crazy, not real stuff, I can truly say that it's been worth the commitment. So giving up my old lifestyles, like drinking and smoking and personality things that were wrong with me, and a lot of other things that was messed up with me, and I'm still messed up, but choosing better, choosing higher, choosing Jesus rather than choosing myself and choosing things of the world, like, it's worth the commitment, because I've seen so much fruit in my life and so much growth in my life that no matter what, this is a choice that I'm sticking by the rest of my life, because too much has happened and I've experienced God, like truly experienced God on so many levels, that it has to be real. And I'm just trusting that, and I'm believing that. And to this day, I still struggle with depression. I still struggle with anxiety. I still struggle in areas that I could go on and on and on about. But what I recognize is my hope isn't in myself. My hope's in Jesus. And the more that I focus on him, the more that I choose daily to follow him, the more that I'm seeing changes in my life, that I'm seeing changes in my heart and in my mind. And so it's not perfect. It's a pursuit.